mañana. Anybody read that for us this morning?
What was it again?
Luke 12:13 to 21. Phil's got it in English. ¿Quién puede leer en español? ¿Es que te puedes leer en español? Okay. All right, Phil, go ahead, brother.
Someone in the crowd said to him, "Teacher, tell my brother to divide the family inheritance with me." But he said to him, "Man, who appointed me a judge or a contributor over you?" Then he said to them, "Beware, and be on your guard against every form of greed, for not even when one has an abundance does his life consist of his possessions." And he told them a parable, saying, "The land of a rich man was very productive. And he began reasoning to himself, saying, What shall I do, since I have no place to store my crops? Then he said, This is what I will do. I will tear down my barns and build larger ones, and there I will store all my grain and my goods. And I will say to my soul, Soul, you have many goods laid up for many years to come. Take your ease, eat, drink, and be merry." But God said to him, "You fool, this very night your soul is required of you, and now you will own you who will own what you have prepared. So is the man who stores up the treasure for himself and is not rich toward God."
Le dijo a uno de la multitud: "Maestro, ¿tiene mi hermano que pasa conmigo?" Le decía. Mas él le dijo: "Hombre, ¿quién me ha puesto sobre vosotros como juez o partidor?" Y le dijo: "Mirad y guardaos de toda avaricia, porque la vida del hombre no consiste de la abundancia de los bienes que posee." También se refirió una parábola, diciendo: La heredad de un hombre rico había producido mucho, que pensaba dentro de sí, diciendo: "¿Qué haré? Todo lo que tengo, donde guardan mis frutos." Y dijo: "Pensaré, derribaré mis graneros y edificaré mayores, y ahí guardaré todos mis frutos y mis bienes. Y le diré a mi alma: Alma, muchos bienes tienes guardados para muchos años. Repósate, reposa, come, bebe y regocíjate." Pero Dios le dijo: "Necio, esta noche vienen a pedirte tu alma, y lo que has provisto, ¿de quién será?"
Gracias. Ok. Yo creo que yo hablo por ti si yo digo, de todas las cosas que Dios podría decir sobre ti, necio probablemente no sea uno que prefieras. ¿Sí o no? I probably speak for everybody when I say of all the things that God could call you, probably one you would not want would be fool. Amen. ¿Te imaginas a Dios llamándote necio? Sí. Can you imagine God calling you a fool? No es tan difícil imaginar eso porque eso sucede con frecuencia en la Biblia. It's actually not that hard to imagine because God says this many times in the Bible. If you got your Bibles, just have them open. We're going to go to a few different places. Abre la Biblia a Salmo 14:1. Psalm 14:1. Psalm 14:1. Y vamos a dar unos ejemplos de que cuando Dios llamó a alguien un necio. Primero, Salmo 14:1. It's the first example of God calling somebody a fool. Listen to this. El necio ha dicho en su corazón, no hay Dios. The fool has said in his heart, what did he say? There's no God. Dios dice, si tú dices, o si tú crees que no hay Dios, si declaras que no hay Dios, Dios dice que tú eres un necio. God says, if you say there's no God, you're a fool. También, mira Proverbios 1:7. Everybody go to Proverbs 1:7. Proverbios 1:7. Dios dice, si no le temes a Dios y tú sigues tu propia sabiduría, Dios dice que tú eres un necio. God says if you don't fear God And if you follow your own wisdom, God calls you a fool. Look at verse 7. El temor del Señor es el principio de la sabiduría. Los necios desprecian la sabiduría y la instrucción. Proverbs 1:7, the fear of the Lord is the beginning of knowledge. Fools despise wisdom and instruction. Y tal vez tú dices, bueno, gracias a Dios que yo sé que hay un Dios, yo no soy un necio. Pero este Proverbios 1:7 llega más cerca de nuestra casa, ¿sí? Maybe you're sitting there saying, you know, Psalm 14 says I'm a fool if I say there's no God, but I don't say that, so I'm not a fool, right? Amen. That's good. But Proverbs 1:7 gets a little bit closer to home, doesn't it? Why? Because everybody in this room does not fear God the way that you should. Go with me over to Romans chapter 3. I'm going to show you something. Mira Romanos 3 conmigo. Yo quiero mostrarte algo. Pablo, hablando de toda la humanidad, dice esto en Romanos 3. This is Paul talking about all of humanity. You say, well, how do you know it's all of humanity? ¿Cómo sé que es toda la humanidad en la mente de Pablo? Mira Romanos 3:9. Everybody go to Romans 3:9. Entonces, ¿qué? ¿Somos nosotros mejores que ellos? De ninguna manera, porque ya hemos denunciado que tanto judíos como griegos están todos bajo pecado. Por eso yo sé que Pablo está hablando de todos. How do I know Paul's talking about everybody? Romans 3:9. What then? Are we better than they? Not at all, for we have already charged that both Jews and Greeks are all under sin. Now, what's he about to say about everybody? ¿Qué está a punto de decir sobre todos?
None good.
None good. Look at verse 18. Look at verse 18. Mira 18. No hay temor de Dios delante de sus ojos. He says there is no fear of God before their eyes. That's everybody. That's you, that's me, that's everybody. Eso es todo. No hay temor delante de Dios. Y Dios dice en Proverbios 1, si yo no temo a Dios, yo soy un necio. God says in Proverbs 1, if I don't fear God, and Paul just said none of us fear God the way that we should, he says, you're a fool. Alright, go to Romans chapter 1. You're already in Romans. Here's a third instance of being called a fool. Aquí es la tercera instancia. Romanos 1, 22 a 23. Dios dice, si tú intercambias, si tú prefieres algo en cualquier momento a mi gloria, tú eres un necio. If you prefer, God says, anything to my glory at any moment, you are a fool. Romans 1, 22 and 23. Romanos 1, 22 y 23. Profesando ser sabios, se volvieron necios y cambiaron la gloria de Dios incorruptible por una imagen en forma de hombre corruptible, de aves, de cuadrúpedos y de reptiles. He says, Romans 1, 22 and 23, professing to be wise, they became fools and exchanged the glory of the incorruptible God for an image in the form of corruptible man and birds, four-footed animals, and crawling creatures. He says, if you exchange the glory of God, and guess who's done that? Everybody. If you have ever preferred anything to God, God says, you're a fool. Un ejemplo de intercambiar la gloria de Dios por algo, por basura, algo inferior, es la cuarta instancia que encontramos aquí en Lucas 12. One example of trading the glory of God for something that's infinitely less is what we just saw in Luke 12. Go back over to Luke chapter 12 and look at verse 20. Mira Lucas 12, 20. Dios le dijo que, necio, esta misma noche te reclaman el alma. Y ahora, ¿para quién será lo que has provisto? Así es el que acumula tesoro para sí y no es rico para con Dios. Luke 12, 20 to 21 says this, God said to him, you fool! This very night your soul is required of you, and now who will own what you have prepared? So is the man who stores up treasure for himself and is not rich toward God. Escúchame muy bien. Dios dice, un ejemplo de intercambiar mi gloria por algo como basura es preferir el dinero a mí. One example of trading the glory of God is any time you prefer money or your possessions to God. Pero seamos honestos aquí. para decir, tú eres un necio si no estás suelto a las cosas de este mundo, porque ellos no son tu tesoro y Dios es, no tiene sentido en esta cultura. ¿Cierto o no? To say, listen, tell me if you think I'm on. To say, you're a fool if you're not loose to worldly possessions because they're not your treasure, God is, makes no sense in this culture. Right or wrong? Why? Porque esta cultura te enseña que tú eres un necio si no acumulas todo lo que puedes para vivir en comunidad, porque ese es el punto de la vida. This culture teaches you the exact opposite. If you're a fool in this culture, here's why you're a fool. Because you're not getting as much as you can, as long as you can, to enjoy it as much as you can before you kick the can. Right? That's true, isn't it? That's what it's about. To do this here makes no sense. Vivimos en una cultura que nos enseña que la avaricia es la virtud. We live in a culture that teaches you seriously that greed is virtue. Watch TV. Desde que eres un niño, se te enseña que el deseo para más y más es normal, aún deseable. What do they teach us from when we were kids? What's the culture teach you? That your desire for more and more and more is normal. In fact, it's even desirable. Esa es la razón por la que haces todo. La razón por ir a la escuela, la razón por conseguir este trabajo, la razón por estar en esta relación o otra relación. Esa es la razón por todo. This is the reason. I promise you, we should do an experiment right now. Go to the University of Memphis. Did anybody here go to U of M? I did. Okay? I did. All right. All right, so we got 3 here. All right? No, we have 4. All right, 4. We should go to the University of Memphis. I'm not talking badly about U of M. It's any campus. But go to the campus and just let's do a survey. At the end, at the bottom, why are you here? I am here to study, to get the best job I can, to make the most money I can, because really what I want is the dream that's been sold to me by this culture. That's why I was in school before I became a Christian. Why are you here? Because I was taught that this is what I should do to get the best job possible so that I can do what I'm supposed to do in this life. ¿Dónde están los estudiantes que están diciendo esto? Yo quiero desarrollar mi mente para glorificar a Dios más. Yo quiero conseguir un trabajo que me paga bien para que yo pueda suplir mis necesidades y usar el resto para avanzar la misión de Dios. Where are the students saying this? And I'm not saying it's all students. I'm saying probably the majority. Where are the ones who are saying, I want to develop my mind for the glory of Christ, and if God gives me a job that makes a bunch of money, let me live to supply my needs and give the rest to missions. Give the rest to advance His cause in the world. Where are people saying that? ¿Dónde están los trabajadores que están diciendo, mi primera consideración en un trabajo no es cuánto voy a ganar? Where are the people who are saying, my first consideration in a job is not what I'm going to make? It is this. Do I glorify Jesus more here versus where I am now? ¿Puedo glorificar a Dios más aquí que ahí? Porque ese es el punto para mí. What we need is a generation of Christians that say, we're not going to think like the world when it comes to this. Necesitamos una generación de cristianos que dicen, no vamos a pensar como el mundo. No vamos a tener los mismos motivos, no vamos a tener los mismos deseos. We need a generation of young people who think like that, don't we? Old people, middle-aged people. I'm not going to think like the world. Porque esa es la cosa. Yo quiero decirles algo. It's hot in here. Is it hot in here?
Yeah.
Amen.
For us, at least.
Okay. Lo que necesitamos, o lo que tenemos enfrente de nosotros hoy es una decisión. En cuyos ojos seremos vistos como necios. Listen, here's your decision today. In whose eyes will you be a fool? You'll be a fool to somebody. Tú vas a ser un necio a alguien. Tú vas a ser un necio a este mundo o tú vas a ser un necio a Dios. Alguien te va a llamar necio. Somebody's going to call you fool. It's either going to be this world for the way that you live, or you're going to be called a fool by God in the end. What do you want? What do you want? Everybody run over with me to 1 Corinthians chapter 4, because this is what I'd love to have said of our church. Mire conmigo a 1 Corintios 4, porque me gustaría mucho que el mundo nos conozca por esto. Mira 1 Corintios 4, 10. Pablo dice, nosotros somos necios por amor de Cristo. Paul says this, 1 Corinthians 4:10. We are fools for Christ's sake. Al mundo Pablo se veía como necio. To the world, Paul looked like a fool. Why do you look like a fool? Just keep reading. Look at verse 11. Porque se veía necio. Sigue leyendo. Hasta el momento presente pasamos hambre y sed, andamos mal vestidos, somos maltratados, no tenemos donde vivir, nos agotamos trabajando con nuestras propias manos. Cuando nos ultrajan, bendecimos. Cuando somos perseguidos, lo soportamos. Cuando nos difaman, tratamos de reconciliar. Hemos llegado a ser hasta ahora la escoria del mundo, el desecho de todo. Pero ¿sabes qué? Pablo no escuchó cuando él llegó al cielo necio. Él no escuchó eso. Paul says, to the present hour we are both hungry and thirsty, poorly clothed, roughly treated, homeless. We toil, working with our own hands. When we are reviled, we bless. When we are persecuted, we endure. When we are slandered, we reconcile. We have become as the scum of the world, the dregs of all things, even until now. But you know what Paul didn't hear when he went to heaven? Fool. Paul made a choice. He said, I'll be a fool to everybody else except God. Pablo hizo su decisión. Yo quiero ser un necio para todo el mundo, sino Dios. Entonces, yo quiero ser un necio. Yo quiero ser un necio a este mundo. Yo no quiero que Dios me diga en el último día, necio. Acumulaste todo esto, pero no vivías rico para con Dios. I don't want God to say of me, listen, I don't want to get to the end and have God say, you lived to accumulate and accumulate and accumulate, you were never rich towards God, and now you're here and you're a fool. So, let's learn how not to be a fool. Or let's learn how to be a fool for God. Vamos a aprender cómo ser un necio para Dios. Mira Lucas 12. Estamos aquí en la próxima parábola, la parábola del rico insensato. Here we are in the next parable that's called the parable of the rich fool. Now, everybody look at Luke 12:13. Yo quiero que veamos Lucas 12:13 para que veamos un poco del contexto. Let's get a little bit of the context here because this is fairly important to understand the parable. Un poco del contexto. Lucas 12:13 dice esto. Uno de la multitud le dijo. Uno de la multitud. Luke 12:13. Someone in the crowd said to him. Debemos entender un poco de la multitud para entender esta historia. Mira conmigo a Lucas 12:1 y vamos a ver algo sobre la multitud. Everybody look at verse 1 in Luke chapter 12 to see something about this multitude. En estas circunstancias, cuando una multitud de miles y miles se había reunido, tanto que se atropellaban unos a otros. ¿Cuántos eran? Miles y miles. Luke 12:1, listen to this. Under these circumstances, after so many thousands of people had gathered together, they were stepping on one another. How many people were there? Thousands and thousands. Okay, now just imagine this. ¿Tú puedes imaginar esto? Tú tienes miles y miles de personas alrededor de Jesús. You've got thousands and thousands of people around Jesus, pero él está enfocado específicamente en sus discípulos. He's talking primarily to his disciples, and the rest of these guys are kind of onlookers. El resto de ellos solo están observando, pero están ahí. Jesús está enseñando con el resto, con la multitud alrededor de él. Cuando Jesús comienza de hablar de la riqueza, yo quiero que ustedes vean que este es uno de 5 veces en Lucas que él habla de la riqueza. When Jesus starts talking about money here, you need to understand this is one of 5 times Jesus talks about money in the Gospel of Luke. Lucas, más que cualquier otro autor en el Nuevo Testamento, destaca cuántas veces Jesús habla del peligro de la riqueza. Luke, more than any other author in the New Testament, talks about how much Jesus talks about the danger of riches. Now I want to tell you something. Listen. Yo quiero decirles algo. Cuando la Biblia habla de la riqueza, casi siempre es negativa. Whenever the Bible talks about riches, listen, it's almost always negative. I should not have done this, but I was so upset by this person's reaction. How many of you know who Kenneth Copeland is? How many of you know who Jesse Duplantis is? Okay. There was a person that was saying they are faithful preachers of the Word, and my head almost exploded. Alguien estaba diciendo sobre estos predicadores que predican un falso evangelio de prosperidad. Ellos son predicadores fieles. Yo estaba a punto de perder mi vida. ¿Sí? Y yo tuve que responder, no son predicadores fieles. This person was saying, they're faithful preachers. My husband was saved under them. I said he was saved despite them. They don't preach the truth. Why? Because what they say about riches is, God saved you for this. The Bible almost always puts a negative spin on riches. Lucas 3, Lucas 12, Lucas 16, dos veces en Lucas 16, Lucas 19, Jesús habla del peligro de la riqueza. This happens in Luke 3, Luke 12, twice in Luke 16, and in Luke 19, Jesus talks about the danger of riches. Y seguramente esto debe comunicarnos que para un discípulo de Cristo, este es un tema infinitamente importante. Listen, this should communicate, if you're a disciple of Jesus, if you're saying, I want to follow Jesus, you ought to think a lot about what you're doing with your money. You ought to think a lot about, am I living in the danger that Jesus is telling me about? Because when I'm reading this, it's getting all over me. And I'm saying, debemos pensar mucho en esto, porque si Jesús enfatizó mucho el peligro de la riqueza, que él piensa que él necesita decirnos 5 veces en un libro, tal vez debemos pensar mucho en esto. So, go to Luke 12:13 again. Mira Lucas 12:13 de nuevo. Tenemos un problema aquí con la petición de este hombre. We've got a bit of a problem here, Luke 12:13, with this guy's request. Y el primer problema es que no es una petición, es una orden. The first problem with this guy's request in Luke 12 is that it's not a request. It's a command. Look what he says again. Lucas 12:13. Uno de la multitud le dijo, Maestro, dile a mi hermano, dile que divida la herencia conmigo. Dile. Someone in the crowd said to him, Teacher, tell my brother. Not, hey, would you mind telling my brother? Tell him. Tell my brother. It's a command. Yo no sé si ustedes recuerdan cuando Marta, pero Marta estaba haciendo los preparativos, formando sus propias expectativas, y Jesús no estaba participando en su plan, y ella dijo, dile a mi hermana que me ayude. Dile pues. You might remember when Martha is making all the preparations and nobody told her to. Jesus is sitting there, Mary is sitting at Jesus' feet. She gets upset. Jesus is not participating in her expectations and her plans, and she says, tell my sister to come help me. Telling God to do something is a dangerous thing. Dando órdenes a Dios es una cosa peligrosa. ¿Sabes qué? Esto es lo que la avaricia te hace. Te guía a demandar a Dios. Te guía a enviar órdenes a Dios. You know what greed tells you to do? Ultimately, it will tell you to demand things from God. You know why? ¿Sabes por qué? Porque Dios no es tu tesoro, Él es un medio que tú usas para ganar tu tesoro. Y tú necesitas mandarlo para obtener lo que realmente quieres. The reason that you begin to order God around like Jesse Duplantis does and like Kenneth Copeland does all the time, tell God what you want. Tell Him what you tell Him. Don't listen to Him. No, actually don't listen to Him. You know why though? Because God's not your treasure, money is. And if money's your treasure, then you have to tell God and use Him as a medium to get what you really want. And He's just a tool. He's not the end, He's just a means. That's what this guy's doing. Eso es lo que Él está haciendo. Él está usando a Jesús como un medio. Él es un medio para obtener lo que yo quiero. He's just this means that I use to get what I want. You know how many people use Jesus like that? Thousands of them will gather at a conference to use Jesus like that. And we can too, if we don't obey Jesus. Aquí es el segundo problema. Jesús no vino para eso. Here's the second problem. Jesus didn't come for that. Jesús no vino para resolver tus disputas financieras. Jesus did not come to resolve your financial disputes. Look at verse, I love this. Look at verse 14. Mira versículo 14. Jesús respondió, Él le dijo, hombre, ¿quién me ha puesto por juez o árbitro sobre vosotros? Jesus looks at him in Luke 12:14 and says, man, I love this, man, who appointed me judge or arbitrator over you? Es como si Jesús dijera esto. ¿Esa es tu idea o es la idea de Dios? ¿Quién me ha puesto sobre ti? ¿Quién me ha designado para hacer eso? ¿Quién me ha ordenado? ¿Tú o Dios? It's like Jesus is saying this. Hey, who's put me here to do this? Was this your idea or is this God's idea? Because you need to know something. I only do things God sent me to do. I don't obey human orders. Yo no hago las cosas que los humanos quieren que yo haga. Yo tengo un calendario que yo obedezco. Un reloj. Yo tengo una voz que yo obedezco. A que yo escucho. Yo tengo una audiencia de mí. Jesus is saying here, I've only got one watch that tells the time. It's my Father's time. I've only got one calendar that tells me my dates. It's my Father's dates. I only listen to one voice. It's my Father's voice. And I've only got an audience of one. So did you put me to do this or did He? Because I don't obey human orders. Look at John 5:19. Mira Juan 5:19. Yo quiero que veas esto. Juan 5:19, John 5:19. En verdad os digo que el Hijo no puede hacer nada por su cuenta, sino lo que ve hacer al Padre, porque todo lo que hace el Padre, eso también hace el Hijo de igual manera. John 5:19 says, therefore Jesus answered and was saying, truly, truly, I say to you, the Son can do nothing of Himself unless it is something He sees the Father doing. Think about that for a second. I do nothing of myself. Whatever my Father does, that's what I do. Jesús era como una sombra del Padre. Cuando el Padre mueve, Él mueve. Cuando el Padre mueve, Él mueve. Jesus is like a shadow of the Father. When He moves, the Father moves. When the Father moves, He moves. He does one thing, whatever the Father wants. Wouldn't you like to live like that? ¿No te gustaría vivir así? Yo tengo una voz, una audiencia, un calendario. Yo voy a vivir por Él. Y si Él no me ha puesto para hacer eso, yo no lo hago. No lo hago. Jesús vivía como un necio para Dios. You want to see a fool for God? Just look at the life of Jesus. I do one thing. That's it. Just one. I don't care what everybody else thinks. I've got one expectation. His. You look like a fool for God. So now, look what this guy asked him to do, though. Mira lo que este hombre pidió. Él pidió esto. Dile a mi hermano que divida la herencia conmigo. He says, tell my brother to divide the inheritance with me. No es sorprendente que este hombre le preguntara a Jesús porque Jesús era considerado un maestro. This is not surprising that he would ask Jesus this because Jesus is considered to be a teacher. Now listen to this quote. This is a quote from a commentary. Listen to this. Eso es una cita de un comentario. Jesús era considerado como un maestro y por lo tanto un miembro de una clase que trataba asuntos religiosos y civiles. Jesus was considered to be a teacher, and because of that, he was a member of a class in society that dealt with religious and civil injustices or topics. So people follow Jesus around thinking he's a teacher, and they're saying, "Oh, you probably handle my business transactions." That's what you teachers do. Él estaba pensando, este hombre, Jesús es un maestro, maestros hacen esto en nuestra cultura, tú puedes ayudarme con mis cosas financieras. Now listen to what Jesus responded again. Mira lo que Jesús respondió de nuevo. ¿Quién me ha puesto por leyes o árbitro sobre vosotros? Who has placed me as judge or arbiter over you? What is an arbiter? ¿Qué es un árbitro? Árbitro. ¿Qué es? You might know what an arbiter is? What's that? A mediator? Okay. What else? Como un juez. Okay.
Le pone orden.
Okay. Pone en orden. Muy bien. Puts it in order. It's like a judge. All right. Here's what the literal definition is. Aquí es la definición literal. Un árbitro significa alguien que divide. An arbiter means, at least in this context, somebody that divides. That's what it means. Okay? Divide la herencia conmigo. Tú puedes tratar con este asunto. You can handle this financial matter of the division of our inheritance because you can be an arbiter. Alright? Now, Jesús, mire esto. Yo creo que Jesús está diciendo, yo no soy el juez ni el divisor de esta manera. I think Jesus is saying, I'm not a judge or a divider in that way. I didn't come for that. But I did come to be a judge and a divider in another way. Pero yo he venido para juzgar y para dividir de otra manera. Who's Jesus? What does John say? What does John say about Jesus in the very beginning of his letter? Word. He's the Word. Juan dice de Jesús, Él es el Verbo, y el Verbo era Dios, y el Verbo era con Dios. ¿Sí? What does the Word do? ¿Qué hace la palabra? Anybody go? What's that? Okay, good. Everybody go to Hebrews 4:12. Mira conmigo Hebreos 4:12. Hebreos 4:12. This is Hebrews 4:12. Everybody go to Hebrews 4:12. Porque la palabra de Dios es viva y eficaz y más cortante que cualquier espada de dos filos, penetra hasta la que. Penetra hasta la que. División del alma, del espíritu, de las coyunturas y los tuétanos, y es poderosa para discernir los pensamientos y las intenciones del corazón. Look what Hebrews 4:12 says. The word of God is living and active and sharper than any double-edged sword, and piercing as far as the what? Division of soul and spirit, joints and marrow. What's it say? Judging the thoughts and intentions of the heart. Jesús no ha venido para juzgar ni dividir cosas financieras. Él ha venido para ser la palabra que juzga y divide el alma. Jesus did not come to be the judge and divider of financial matters. He came to be the judge and divider of your heart. And what he sees in this is, this guy's got a motive I need to tear up right now. Jesús dice, este hombre tiene un motivo detrás de esta petición que yo quiero exponer y matar. Jesus sees this motive in this guy's heart. He said, I'm not here to deal with your financial matters. I'm here for your heart. Let me expose that. And when he exposes that, he's exposing it in you and me. Cuando él exponga este deseo que está detrás de esta petición de este hombre, él está exponiendo el deseo en nuestros corazones también. Él vino para eso. He came to say, I'm going to divide that and judge that and get it out. Now watch. What's the desire that's behind this guy's petition? ¿Qué es el deseo detrás de esta petición? Greed. Greed. Look with me at Luke 12:15. Mira Lucas 12:15. Y les dijo, Estad atentos y guardaos de toda forma de avaricia. He says, verse 15, beware and be on your guard against every form of greed. Now, I want you to listen right here, okay? If you don't take anything away from this message, just take this away. Por favor, escuches aquí. Si no has captado nada hasta ahora, eso es lo que necesitas captar. Jesús dice, el motivo detrás de esta petición es avaricia. Y eso existe en ustedes también. Y yo tengo dos mandamientos para matar avaricia. Jesus says, what's behind this guy's request is greed. And I've got two commands for you that are going to help you kill greed. Because it's in you too. Okay? It's in you. La avaricia está dentro de ti. Entonces él dice eso. Estar atentos y estar alerta. Dos mandamientos. Here are the two commands. Be attentive and guard yourself. Be attentive and guard yourself. This is like 1 Peter 5:8. Eso es como 1 de Pedro 5:8. Que dice, sed de espíritu sobrio, estar alerta, vuestro adversario el diablo anda al acecho como león rugiente, buscando a quien devorar. This is like 1 Peter 5:8 where he says, be of sober spirit, be on the alert. Your adversary, the devil, prowls around like a roaring lion, seeking someone to devour. And it might be you, because you're not looking. That's what Jesus is saying. Estar atento significa que mires atentamente. Being attentive means look, wake up, it's all around you. This was the part when I was thinking about this verse. This is the part that I was like, it just makes so much sense. Esa es la parte que me impactó mucho. Cuando él dice, estar atentos de toda forma de avaricia. Hay más que una. When Jesus says, be on guard, be alert against every form of greed, that means there's a bunch of them. Think about where you live. Piensa en donde vives. Hey, well, how far do you have to go to find a temptation to be greedy? Here. Josh is holding this up. ¿Dónde tienes que ir para ser tentados de codiciar? Está en todos lados. The temptation to be greedy is all around you. And I want to tell you something. Listen to me. In Sudan, the devil kills faith by persecution. Here he kills it by pleasure mostly. En otros países el diablo puede matar la fe por la persecución, pero aquí es el placer. Cuán poderoso es nuestro corazón. Tal vez tú estás pensando ahora, bueno, sí, yo entiendo que yo debo mirar atentamente porque la tentación de codiciar es alrededor de mí, pero ¿sabes qué? Es tan peligroso. Is it really that dangerous for you though? I mean, so you're sitting here thinking, yeah, I know Jesus is saying I should really be attentive because the temptation to be greedy is all around me, but is it really that bad? There was a man who sold Jesus after walking with him for 3 years for 30 pieces of silver. Fue el hombre que vendió a Jesús después de 3 años andando con él por 30 piezas de plata. Tú no te puedes imaginar el poder de tu corazón cuando tentado con la avaricia. You cannot imagine the temptation of your heart. You cannot imagine its power when you have greed in front of you. It is so powerful. I could tell you stories after story after story of the power of the human heart to do things that are unimaginable because of greed. Why did Hitler do what he did? ¿Por qué hizo Hitler lo que él hizo? So Jesus says, you got to watch. Ustedes han visto, ¿cómo se llama? Los animales que cazan los leones. ¿Hienas? ¿Hienas? ¿Cómo se llama? ¿Hienas? Sí. Okay, hienas. How many of you have ever watched a hyena pack? That's not even how you say it in English.
Hyena.
Hyena?
Hyena.
Can't say it in either language.
Hyena.
Hyena. How many of you ever watched a hyena pack attack their prey?
You mean like a lion?
Bueno, ustedes han visto un grupo de hienas atacando a su presa. ¿Cómo lo hacen? How do they do it? La presa nunca sabe de cuál lado viene el ataque, ¿sí? If you're the prey, I saw them do this to a lion one time. This was like really impressive. Not like impressive. Anyway. So there was like a pack of hyenas that were around this lion, and the lion never knew from which side the attack was going to come. And I was thinking about greed. That's what greed is like. It's all around you. And you never know where the attack is coming. Así es la avaricia. Es como un grupo de hienas que están alrededor de su presa. Y nunca sabes de qué lado viene el ataque. Y por eso tú tienes que mirar. But that's why you have to look. Because it's all around you every day from the moment you wake up to the moment you go to sleep. You are not in comfort land. You are in battle land. And it's coming for you. Hey, tell me the devil doesn't know exactly what your heart desires. You open up your phone and then you start looking at stuff on there and you're like, 2 hours later you've been looking at whatever, guns for that long, or you've been looking at, you've been looking at a beach house down there, you've been thinking about your next home, you've been looking at and you just spent hours and you're looking at, and you're saying, that doesn't have any power over me. Really? ¿Cuánto tiempo puede pasar ahí en eBay? ¿Cuánto tiempo puede pasar ahí en Costco? Otros lugares, mirando a cosas. Wow, eso sería bueno. Wow, eso sería. You ever done that? No, I've never done that. Yeah, right. Okay, la primera cosa. Entonces, tal vez ahora, escúchame bien, tal vez ahora tu corazón está alejando de Jesús sin saberlo. Right now, listen, your heart can be drifting away from Jesus and you don't even know it. Y tú estás justificando lo que tú haces, diciendo cosas así. Jesús quiere que yo sea feliz. You can just be justifying what you're doing, saying, but God wants me to be happy, doesn't He? God wants me to be happy. Pero tú sabes que tú te estás alejando de Jesús. Entonces Jesús dice que tú tienes que mirar atentamente. Jesus says, look, it's all around you. And then here's the second command He says. Y aquí dice el segundo mandato. Él dice, estar alerta or guardaros. He says, guard yourself against it. Everybody go to 1 Timothy chapter 6. Mira 1 Timoteo 6. 1 Timothy chapter 6. 1 Timoteo 6, 9. You know how many sins the Bible tells you to flee from? Actually, two. Hay dos pecados que la Biblia dice que tú debes huir. Tú debes huir. Uno es lujuria, el otro es avaricia. One is lust, and the other is greed. It's right here in 1 Timothy 6. Look what it says. 1 Timothy 6. Pero los que quieren enriquecerse, no simplemente los ricos, los que quieren enriquecerse. Tú puedes ser pobre y querer enriquecer. Caen en tentación y lazo y en muchos deseos necios y dañosos que hunden a los hombres en la ruina y en la perdición, porque la raíz de todos los males es el amor del dinero, por el cual, codiciándolo, algunos se extraviaron de la fe y se torturaron con muchos dolores. Pero tú, oh hombre de Dios, ¿qué dice? Huye de esas cosas. Y sigue la justicia, la piedad, la fe, el amor, la perseverancia y la amabilidad. Look at 1 Timothy 6:9. It says, but those who want to get rich. Now, listen, you don't have to be rich to want to get rich. You can be poor and want to get rich. Those who want to get rich fall into a temptation and a snare and many foolish and harmful desires, which plunge men into ruin and destruction. Watch, for the love of money is a root of all sorts of evil, and some by longing for it have wandered away from the faith and have pierced themselves with many griefs. Watch what it says. But flee from these things, you man of God, and pursue righteousness, godliness, faith, love, perseverance, and gentleness. He tells you to flee it. It is so strong. Greed in your heart is so strong that He tells you, run. Run. And some of you need to run right now. Algunos de ustedes necesitan huir ahora. You know what some of you need to run from? I'd throw Edgar's phone. I'm going to throw his phone. Some of you need to run from that. I'm dead serious. Algunos de ustedes necesitan huir de eso. Do it. It's not your phone. You say, do it. Yeah. Cualquier cosa que te da la tentación de codiciar, hay que huir. Hay que evitar. Eso es lo que Jesús dice. Es violento. Jesus says this is violent. Anything that would cause you to tempt to be greedy, run from it. Because you know what will happen? That will throw you into destruction. That's what 1 Timothy 6 says. I don't know, it might be your phone, it might be your computer, I don't know what it is. Okay.
Friends.
He gives you those commands. Él nos da estos mandatos, pero aquí es el motivo. Here's the motive. Here's the reason He gives you those commands. Go to Luke 12:15 again. Mira Lucas 12:15 de nuevo. Les dijo, estar atentos y guardaos de toda forma de avaricia, porque ¿cuál es la razón? Aun cuando alguien tenga abundancia, su vida no consiste en sus bienes. Luke 12:15, He says, beware and be on your guard against every form of greed, for not even when one has an abundance does his life consist of his possessions. Y yo estaba pensando en eso, y esa parte me pegó ¡pum! Duro en la mente. Yo estaba pensando, ese es el peligro. This is the part when I was reading it, I was saying, that's it. I don't know if you ever read the Bible and God just flips the light on. That's what happened to me when I was reading. So I was like, oh, that's it. This is why greed is so dangerous. La avaricia es tan peligrosa porque la avaricia te engaña a creer que en posesiones hay vida. Why is greed so dangerous? Because it comes with a promise. It promises you something. It promises you that in more stuff you find life. That's why it's dangerous. And that's why so many people are right there. La avaricia te dice esto. Si tienes más, vas a encontrar la vida que buscas. ¿Sí? Greed tells you this. If you just have a little bit more, you'll find the life you're looking for. Lee Iacocca, I've used this example before, but Lee Iacocca, who was the head of the Chrysler Company, they one time said to him back in the 30s, they said, how much is enough? Because this guy was making tons of money. You know what he said? Just a little bit more. Always just a little bit more. ¿Qué es suficiente? Un poco más. Con un poco más yo voy a encontrar lo que yo busco. Y por eso Jesús usa una ilustración aquí. Él nos da una parábola. So then Jesus says, let me show you what this would look like. He gives you an example, a parable. La tierra de cierto hombre rico había producido mucho y pensaba dentro de sí diciendo, ¿qué haré? Ya que no tengo donde almacenar mis cosechas. Entonces dijo, esto haré, derribaré mis graneros, edificaré otros más grandes y ahí almacenaré todo mi grano y mis bienes. Jesus says, this is what it would look like. Tell me if this doesn't sound like what everybody tells you to do in this culture. Okay? This is what He says. The land of a rich man was very productive, and he began reasoning to himself, saying, what shall I do since I have no place to store my crops? Then he said, this is what I will do. I'll tear down my barns and build larger ones, and there I will store all my grain and goods. Does that not sound exactly what people tell you to do here? Eso suena exactamente como el sueño americano. ¿O tú necesitas más espacio para acumular más cosas? ¡Qué bueno! ¿Qué lleva a una persona a tener esa mentalidad? What makes a person, though? What takes a person and gives them that mentality to think, you know what, if I've got more stuff, I just need to make more room? What leads a person? A promise leads a person. to believe that. Es una promesa. ¿Una promesa de qué? Mira lo que Jesús dice. What's the promise? Look at 12:19. Y diré a mi alma, alma, tienes muchos bienes depositados para muchos años, descansa, come, bebe, diviértete. Esa es la promesa. What's the promise? Jesus says, Luke 12:19, soul, you have many goods laid up for many years to come. Take your ease, eat, drink, be merry. That's the promise. That is the promise. Esa es la promesa. Dime que todas las promociones no dicen esto. Tú necesitas acumular más y más y más para que puedas vivir una vida cómoda y disfrutar todo lo que este mundo te ofrece. ¿Eso es lo que dice? What do the advertisements tell you? This is what they tell you. Get as much as you can, store it up so that you can live a comfortable life and enjoy as much of this world as you possibly can. That is all the world can sell you. That's the best promise. But that's what it's selling you. It's a promise. Dios responde. Necio, esta misma noche te reclaman el alma. Y ahora, ¿para quién será lo que has provisto? God responds to him and says, you fool. This very night your soul is required of you. And then who will have all your stuff? ¿Por qué Dios llama a este hombre un necio? Why does God call him a fool? Porque hay muchos en el mundo que quieren esto. There's so many in the world that want this. Why is God calling everybody a fool? You can't take anything with you. Bueno, este hombre está intercambiando vida y placeres para siempre por algo que dura por los segundos. Anybody would call you a fool if you exchanged infinite pleasure forever for something that lasts 2 seconds and isn't really even pleasurable. Anybody would call you a fool. That's what God is saying to the whole world. Fool. Es necesidad acumular cosas aquí cuando tú pudieras acumular cosas en una cuenta que dura para siempre y tiene una tasa de retorno de 100%. Hey, let me ask you something. If you went to a bank right now and you said, I want a bank account where I invest my money, it gives me a 100% return rate and lasts forever. All right, we got somebody that works at Regions, right? They gonna do that at Regions? They're going to do that at Regions, okay? Yeah, you're going to find a 5%, maybe a 5% return rate, right? Okay, nobody's giving you that, all right? John said, I might find a bank. No. Where's the account where you can do that? 100%, infinite return rate, lasts forever. ¿Dónde está la cuenta donde la tasa de retorno es 100% o infinidad que dura para siempre? No existe en este mundo, pero en cielo. Listen to what Matthew 6 says. Listen to what Matthew 6 says. Mateo 6, 19-21. No os acumuléis tesoros en la tierra donde la polilla y la herrumbre destruyen y donde ladrones penetran y roben, sino acumulaos tesoros en el cielo donde ni la polilla ni la herrumbre destruyen y donde ladrones no penetran ni roben, porque donde esté tu tesoro, allí estará también tu corazón. Matthew 6, 19-21. Don't store up for yourself treasures on earth where moth and rust destroy and where thieves break in and steal. But store up for yourself treasures in heaven where neither moth nor rust destroys and where thieves do not break in or steal. For where your treasure is, there your heart will be also. God says you're a fool if you store up all your stuff here for pleasures that don't satisfy and pleasures that don't last. When somebody's offering you a bank account of infinite return forever, you are a fool if you don't accumulate treasure there. Pero la pregunta es esta: ¿cómo podemos acumular tesoros en el cielo? Si tenemos la cuenta ofrecida a nosotros que tiene la tasa de retorno de 100% para siempre, ¿cómo podemos invertir todo ahí? Wouldn't you want to know if there was a bank account that could give you infinite return rate forever? Wouldn't you want to know how to access it? So how do you become rich for God? How do you become rich towards God? I want to give you a different dream than the American dream. And we're going to end with this. So go to 1 Timothy 6. Vamos a terminar con esto, pero yo quiero decirles cómo podemos ser ricos para con Dios. 1 Timoteo 6. Timoteo 6:6. This is 1 Timothy 6:6. Listen to this. Pero la piedad, en efecto, es un medio de gran ganancia cuando va acompañada de contentamiento. Godliness actually is a means of great gain when accompanied by contentment. Now, let me ask you a question. You guys have a Bible. You guys have eyes. What's the gain and what's the contentment? ¿Qué es la ganancia y qué es el contentamiento? You have a Bible. You tell me. What is the gain that Paul is talking about? Christ. Yeah. Cristo. What else? Look. What is the gain? ¿Qué es la ganancia? De que Pablo habla. What's that? Okay. Live as Christ, die as gain. ¿Qué dice?
Pues qué contentamiento cuando no está contento, no está deseando tener más ni anhelando porque está satisfecho con lo que tiene y no está como en esa búsqueda constante porque está contento.
See, you found satisfaction, so there's no need to be constantly looking for more. Just listen to listen. I know I've used this verse a lot. You don't have to go there. Just listen to this. Escuche a Salmo 16:11. Solo hay que escuchar. Just listen to it. Me darás a conocer la senda de la vida. En tu presencia hay plenitud de gozo. En tu diestra deleites para siempre. Plenitud de gozo para siempre. Psalm 16:11. You don't have to go there. Just listen. In your presence is fullness of joy. In your right hand there are pleasures forever. Fullness of joy forever in God's presence. Where's that better? Where's that better? So Paul says, there's gain to be had in Him, better gain than anything else. Hay ganancia en Cristo que es mejor que cualquier cosa que te puedes encontrar aquí. Okay? Now, watch what he says. What's contentment? ¿Qué es contentamiento? Menos mal que Pablo nos dice. Mira 1 Timoteo 6, 7 a 8. What does Paul mean by contentment? 1 Timothy 6, 7 to 8. Listen to this. Porque nada hemos traído al mundo, así que nada podemos sacar de él. Y si tenemos que comer y con que cubrirnos, con esto estaremos contentos. Listen to what Paul said. You got to listen here. Listen. He says, 1 Timothy 6, 7, 8, for we have brought nothing in the world, so we cannot take anything out of it either. If we have food and covering, with these we shall be content. Can I ask you something? Are you content? If you have food and something to cover yourself, are you content? ¿Estás contento con comida y con qué cubrirse? You say, I want to be rich towards God. Here's what I want you to do. Here's the application. I want to do this. I want us to do this together. Yo quiero que hagamos esto juntos. Aquí es la aplicación. Yo creo que cada familia y cada persona necesita orar. Dios, ¿qué necesito para suplir mis necesidades? Okay? Get in your families or ask personally, God, what do I need to supply my needs? Okay? What's my level of need? Got to have enough to supply my needs. Food, covering, right? I need to get around. Got to get where I'm going. Okay? God, you tell me, what's my need? All right? Entonces, tenemos un cielo aquí. Okay? Tenemos una barra. Aquí es la necesidad para mí y para mi familia. Here are the necessities for me and my family. You got to define that. Ask God. Okay? Do this week. And then say, past that, what do you want me to do with the rest? When you get a raise, that doesn't mean you have to have a raise in your standard of living. You could just advance the mission of God more. Para nosotros como personas y como iglesia necesitamos una generación de personas que piensen diferentemente. Yo voy a suplir mis necesidades, estar contento con eso y con el resto que Dios me da. Yo no voy a almacenar. Yo voy a dar. Listen, think about this. You're going to stand before God and He's going to say, what did you do with what I gave you? I gave you enough for your needs. Why did you spend all the rest on yourself? Go talk as a family and say, what do we need to cover our needs? And beyond that, what does God want us to do with the rest to be radical for Him? So that we don't get to the end and Him say, you're a fool. You're a fool. Because I want to tell you this. I really believe this. Yo creo esto con todo mi corazón. I think that in this culture in America, it's really easy to find a Christianity that's not biblical. Where everybody's just comfortable and we're not living like Jesus called us to live. We need to live like Jesus called us to live here. Tenemos que vivir como Jesús nos ha llamado aquí. Entonces, como familias, como personas, hay que pedir a Dios, Dios, muéstrame mi nivel de necesidad. Eso es lo que yo necesito. Y para el resto, ¿qué quieres que yo haga? Will you do this week, please? Think about it. What's our level of need? And with the rest, what does God want us to do to be radical for His mission? Okay, can you do that? This means yes. This means no. Okay? Please do that this week. And as a church, we want to be radical so that we can be rich towards God as a people. All right. I'm going to pray for us, and after that we'll have some announcements. Yo voy a orar y después vamos a tener unos anuncios.